G'day and welcome back to the Line Lawn. On today's video I'm going to be installing the Power Rotary Scissors head onto my 36 volt Ryobi whippersnipper. The rotary head from IDECH that was supplied by Old Time Parts here in Australia. I've been wanting to do this modification for a long time, ever since I've started cylinder mowing and cutting my lawn nice and short. The line trimming style whippersnipper just hasn't really been cutting it for me, pun intended. So I'm hoping to fix that today by upgrading to the Power Rotary Scissors. If you're unfamiliar with what they are, it's an attachment for your whippersnipper that ultimately cuts in the same scissor fashion that a cylinder mower does. Instead of whipping the grass like a whippersnipper with a line does, it's moving plates that cut the grass between two blades. So like I said, that's supplied by Old Time Parts in Sydney, and I'll put a link to them down in the description box below if you're interested in buying one for yourself. I can't recommend them highly enough. I had a bit of a chat with Jason from Old Time Parts one night when I was trying to order this. They were currently listed as out of stock, and I just sent him a message asking when they would be back in stock via Instagram, and he was good enough to respond and say he had one still in the box. And at 8:30 on a Friday night while he was chatting to me, he sent me the shipping details and he'd popped it in a box there and then, and a week and a half later here it is. So big props to Jason, thank you for that. So what I'll do is I'll adjust my camera angle over the workbench, get the Ryobi whippersnipper and see if we can't put it together, and then we'll give it a test. Okay, so it's worth mentioning that I bought a skin only 36 volt line trimmer, straight shaft line trimmer from the Ryobi range, which included the power head and the straight shaft attachment. But if you already had the power head, you could just buy the straight shaft attachment for your whippersnipper or whatever you needed, if your whippersnipper allows that. I already had a 36 volt power head that I used for the edges, but I wanted a second one for this. So the skin only version cost $274 from Bunnings, and then this cost $463 delivered. So it does get quite expensive to build this little bit of equipment, but I think the results that, well, I hope the results it achieves is going to be worth the outlay. So just for the moment I just have the straight shaft attachment here on the bench, and what I will do is take the whippersnipper head off with just a 10mm, I think. I might roll some fancy music while we do this. Alright, so that now comes off. As you can see, one of the main reasons for doing this sort of stuff is the height of the whippersnipping that you can get. If you were whippersnipping dead flat on the ground, the line out straight, if that was on the ground, you've still sort of got that much leaf blade that you're cutting if you're doing straight, and then if you go on an angle you run the risk of digging into the grass and burning it with that yellow stuff. So they're actually quite high. I know you can get line trimmers that are much closer to the ground, but for this one it's very, very high, whereas this jobby will sit almost flush on the ground and cut down low like my cylinder mower is cutting. So let's have a look at what we've got. We have I don't know if you're going to be able to see in there if it'll focus, but we have a tube full of grease, and that shaft in there is where I imagine one of the collars supplied with the head unit will go. My next door neighbour's playing classical music. Hope you're enjoying it and I hope it doesn't get me copyright stricken. Okay, so you get these 5 little adapters that fit various different types of whippersnippers. Mine in there is a square shaft. Only one of those is square on the inside, so I imagine that's the one I'm looking for. And yeah, right, so on the outside of them, they're all they've all grooved the same, so that outside edge fits to the inside of the Power Rotary Scissors head. And then the square, theoretically, will attach over that. Yes, it does, into the grease. And then you also get a couple of different collars, different internal diameter collars. I think they're stamped on there, 24mm, 25mm and 25.4mm. Now, from what I remember from watching a video on somebody else doing this, I think the 25.4 is the one I want, if I can get the sticky tape off. So it has a little groove in it that slots into the groove inside the head. Yeah. Right, and that just knocks into place. If we pop this collar in, I don't know how we're supposed to drop it in, or whether I'm supposed to put it on that first. Oh no, so it stops on that, so that's alright. Pinch this little collar together and knock it in. Then hopefully, fingers crossed, this just slides onto. So I might be better off popping that inside. Just to seat it in those grooves. Right, so that's seated in there now. And then, one thing I didn't check. Rookie tip, I suppose, make sure you line it up with the right way that it's going to go back into your machine, which is that way. So that needs to be on the top. And luckily I've used this a couple of times, so there's a little bit of a witness mark of where the grass stops and where the shaft is cleaned. So I'd say that's a fair indication of how far in I can put it. Oh, and it clicks straight in. I'll roll that back around, and then tighten up the two Allen keys. They are, I think, 4mm Allen keys, I think I read in the instructions. We'll tighten those up. Tighten up the one holding it onto the shaft. And I think that's done and ready to go. And it comes with this big, fairly hefty plastic cover on it, which I will hang on to in case I ever need to transport it in the car or something. It might be worthwhile to protect it from banging into stuff or ripping the carpet in the car. As you can see, I'll give you a look at the actual unit. That's what it looks like. As you can see, the two scissor blades that slide across each other and cut like scissors. So I'll get the power unit, plug it into it, see how it goes. Hopefully it doesn't explode. as things that I build are prone to do. Righto, it's plugged in, battery's in. Let's see what happens. That's pretty noisy, but it's working. So I'll flick the camera back around and we might test it out. Righto, first little test. I've got this problem area here which is just weeds and junk, but I also haven't done the edges around the yard for a couple of weeks to let them grow because I knew this was coming and I wanted to test it out properly. But I'll just try it here on this stuff first and then we'll do the rest of the yard. That's pretty impressive, but also very noisy, which segues me into new headphones, new earphones, earmuffs, what do you want to call them? 3am work tunes. I'll put them on and give them a rap. Then I can't hear the neighbours' noisy music. Righto, first impressions is that this thing is a monster. What a great bit of kit. It did really well cutting through all of that long grass. Obviously my edges won't ordinarily be that long, I've just let them grow because I knew this was coming and I wanted to test it, but due to the courier and shipment delays in the country at the moment, it took a little bit longer than planned, so it did grow quite significantly longer than I'd hoped for it to do, but this thing just ate it up, absolutely ate it up. So I've got to work out what to do along the fence line. Obviously this isn't going to get into the corrugations of the Colorbond fence. I'm toying up with the idea of just continuing just to round up along there, or whether I dig a trench down there and put a timber mow edge or something. I don't know, what do you think? If you've got an idea or if you've got something similar, let me know in the comments below what you would do, because it just looks ugly. But the rest of the test for this is absolutely great. I'm very impressed with it. This 36 volt power head that I've got has a sort of a variable speed trigger, so you can just pull it on as fast or as slow as you like. I think the fastest speed for this would be too fast. I imagine that those two cutting blades spinning and rubbing together like that would get very, very hot at high speed for a long period of time, so something to be wary of. You don't need to go full tilt with it. I was only sort of at half speed for most of that and it was just absolutely chewing through it. I don't know what it did battery wise, let's have a look. That was a full battery, so that used half of the battery to do the backyard. So if I allocate a 4 amp hour battery to do the front and backyards, I think that would be within the ballpark of what you'd expect to be reasonable. The whole kit now, as it sits in my hands, as I said before, it's about $735 by the time you buy the Ryobi bit and the rotary scissors bit and get it shipped. There's a couple of other options out there, and like I said, if you already had it's taller than I keep thinking. If you already had the power head and you just wanted to buy the straight shaft, you could probably get away with it for a couple $100 less. So I think it's worth it. I will use it from now on, but now that I've put all those long grass clippings all over the grass, I'm going to have to go and clean them up with the rotary mower, I think, and then I've got some spraying to do. So anyway, if you enjoyed this video, please give it a like. If you haven't subscribed to the channel already, please do. I've got some more videos coming out in the next week or two, and I'm constantly doing videos updating the progress of the lawn and how it's traveling. So thanks again for watching, and I will catch you next time on the Line Lawn.